As far as I remember, I was born with a broken leg and a hernia, of all things. I got scoliosis, that's the S shape. I got lumbar lordosis, which is a forward tilt of the pelvis. I get scared like any day I could just fucking die.
How do you kind of deal with these sort of things? Because, it's not easy.
These people's opinions are irrelevant and we're all gonna be dead anyway. Just do what you need to do the shit you wanna do and just live your life the way you wanna live it.
He was born with brittle bones, took his first steps at 4, and ditched the wheelchair at 16. From getting bullied in a small New Zealand town to starring in feature films, rapping in his home studio and redefining what strength looks like. Brodie Giller's story isn't just about resilience. It's about rewriting the rules when life hands you a stacked deck. What is the one cheat code that you reckon you've unlocked, right, in your life now, living up to where you are today, that you could kind of go back and tell your 18-year-old self?
Say what you wanna say and do what you wanna do, because one day you're gonna be...
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Point 01. This is episode 8 with Brodie Giller. Brodie, it's going to be an interesting episode. I think there's obviously an obvious thing to point out here and to talk about. But beyond that, I want to kind of talk about your story and everything. Point 01 is a podcast about people who have kind of broken out of the norm and really excelled in what they do, but also exhibit a lot of the factors that allow them to be at that what we call that 0.01 philosophy and mindset, right? So you're different, which is clear from a physical perspective, but also from a mindset perspective, we want to really dive into that and discuss that today. So, Brodie, a lot of people don't know who you are out there. I think we'll have a great discussion about your story and everything that's happened in your life so far. But run us through, what's a quick sort of background for yourself?
So I'm originally from New Zealand. I'm 27. I left New Zealand in 2019. I travelled South America. I lived in Mexico, like of all fucking places. I ended up in Brisbane. I think it was like mid-2019. I was there for 3 years and then ended up moving to Sydney, and the rest is kind of history. I've just been here ever since.
Yeah, nice. Well, what made you move to South America?
So like I had like a nasty breakup. Like I made the mistake of dating my workmate's daughter. You don't do that shit. Yeah. So she's like a year younger than me, and didn't turn out very well. And then she'd like come into work every day. My hometown in New Zealand is like the sort of hometown where like you're born there, you grow up there, have kids, have your family, and you just kind of die in the same place.
Where was that? What hometown was it?
So a place called Invercargill, so it's the bottom of New Zealand. Okay. It's a shithole, that's why you've never heard of it before.
Is it? Sounds like a really small place.
Yeah. So population is probably like sitting at maybe like 56,000.
Okay.
I'm probably wrong. If I'm wrong, don't correct me about it. But yeah. So a lot of people, like I said, they're just kind of born there, die there, and they don't do anything in between. So I realized that small town mindset was going to become ingrained in me as well.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, if I don't get out now, then this is it.
And so when did you leave home?
Like moved out of home or like left the country?
Yeah, left the country.
So I left New Zealand at the very start of 2019.
Okay. So how old were you then?
Fuck, man. I would have been like 21, I think.
21?
Yeah.
And then straight to South America?
Yeah.
Why South America? Such a random place.
Latinas.
Latinas.
Yeah.
So you have a thing for Latinas.
Yeah, I knew this Chilean girl called Fenya. She was a exchange student when we were both in high school. And like, I don't know what it is, man, but like a good majority of my friends at the time were all foreigners. Yeah. Not people from where I'm from, if that makes any sense. So
why is that? Is that just because they were traveling, or?
I don't know, man. Like I think it's like based on the height and that kind of thing. It's like being kind of an outcast. I can't make friends with people where I'm from.
Yeah, right.
And these foreigners couldn't make friends with people when they're not even from there, you know. So it's like we had something to click on. Yeah. So I ended up going to Peru, big culture shock. Then I went to Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, Brazil for Carnival. Oh man, incredible experience.
Crazy.
Yeah, went to Panama, stopped over in LA. I don't know if you can count as being at the airport for like 3 hours as going to LA, but I'm just gonna say I've been.
I mean, LA airport is an experience for many people that have been there. It is a proper experience.
Yeah, that's right. Then I ended up in Puerto Vallarta. It's on the coast of Jalisco. So if you've seen Narcos Mexico, a couple of scenes were based there. Pretty crazy. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, and from that standpoint.
Nice. And do you speak the local language there?
Yeah, I speak Spanish.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
fluent
nah,
proper Spanish?
I like to think I'm fluent, but I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Español es muy miela.
Yeah.
It's real shit. Yeah.
Nice. And where did you learn that? Did you learn that in New Zealand, or did you learn it overseas?
A little bit in New Zealand, but mostly overseas. Being in Puerto Vallarta, like all the locals only speak Mexican, man.
Right.
So it's like, not Mexican, Spanish. No, I sound like a dickhead. They all only speak, I sound like a fucking dickhead now. They all only speak Spanish. So it was like, you either speak Spanish and try and make do, or you just kind of flounder around. So it's like, fuck, I'm going to have to learn. So the best way to learn is just to throw yourself in the deep end.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
That absolutely makes sense. So what's your life like now? You know, it's been a couple of years. You obviously went from South America all the way back over to Australia. Actually, a good question before we dive into, like, you know, what you're doing right now and all of that. Why did you choose Australia to come back to instead of going back to New Zealand?
Brisbane was always plan A for me. So I actually, before I left in 2019, I opened an account with ANZ like 2 years before because I was like, fuck, like I'm going to make this happen. And then that's when I got in a relationship and then I just didn't leave. But yeah, Brisbane was always a plan. Australia was always a plan. It's a better quality of life. And it's like a thing. New Zealanders, there's more New Zealanders here in Australia than there is New Zealanders in New Zealand, you know. So,
Is that the case?
yeah, so it's like, we all move here. So it was kind of like, you know, it's the next best place to go. Yeah.
And what were you doing when you went to Brizzy to survive?
I was a personal trainer. I ran my own business.
No way, you're a PT?
Yeah, PT.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't pick it, but I was a PT for. I should probably say I was in the fitness industry more for about 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what you were doing back in New Zealand as well?
Yeah. So I was a gym receptionist and a personal trainer as well.
Jeez, wow, fun times. And then when did you move over to Sydney then?
So I moved to Sydney. It would have been 3 years December, just been.
Okay, 3 years December. Wow, so you've been here 3 years now.
Yep.
That's pretty interesting. So what do you do now then, now that you're in Sydney?
So, of all things, I work in quality assurance for an insurance company, basically. Cool. Yeah.
And you also work on a lot of projects on the side as well. I know you want to act and do all of that sort of stuff. I think you produce a lot of content and you're featured in a few things. Run us through that sort of lifestyle now.
Yeah, so just through my ability just to fucking yap and talk, like I've been able to meet some incredible people like directors, producers. So I've been in a couple of feature films. Been in one with a director called Joy Hopwood. It's a movie called It's Our Time. Kind of like those films when you're like sick at home from work and you turn on the TV at 12 o'clock lunchtime, there's a movie on.
It's like a random film.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, so it's like a TV rom-com, a really, really good film. They spelt my name wrong in the credits. It doesn't matter. I've worked on another feature with a director called Maria Tran, incredible lady, and her husband Takashi. Really, really good film. A couple extra pieces on the side, short films, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's what I'm really trying to focus on. That
Get into acting.
Yeah, and music. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, cool. So run me through like your acting side of your life and, you know, the music side, the creative side, right? Like what's that journey like for you? Obviously being very different in the industry. Do you get cast for certain roles? Do you miss out on certain roles?
I don't get cast for fuck all, man. Okay. Like literally, it's a hard thing. Like, I mean, you could be beautiful and muscly and chiseled like Chris Hemsworth, and even then you might still struggle. You're going to struggle regardless of what you look like. But for me, like I've got two things working against me. I got my height, and I got the fact that I'm covered in tattoos on my neck like a fucking idiot. So
fair enough.
Yeah. So they, you know how like you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Yeah. The moment I walk through the door, that's the impression. It's like an instant no, 99% of the time. Right.
So yeah, run me through the height side of things, because obviously for those who are going to be listening from the audio side, how tall are you?
4'3".
4'3". What's that in?
I think it's 129 to 130.
Something like that, right? 129 to 130. So what's it like living, you know, life being at that height? Because I think a lot of people won't understand, right? I'm assuming, you know, as you're going through high school, going through life, what was that journey like? Run me through it. Flashback. Let's go back. Let's run it back 20 years. As you were a toddler growing up, were you kind of always short even growing up, or was that?
Oh, I was
different?
tiny, man. I was real small, yeah. So I only started walking when I was 4 years old. So a lot of people aren't lucky enough to be able to remember their first steps, but I remember mine. Yeah, crazy experience, man.
So what was that like up until 4 then? Were you just crawling?
Yeah, just crawling like a fucking demon, man. I was in a wheelchair as well, but yeah, pretty much crawling, man. Like my mum drilled it into me to be independent. So I've always tried to be independent and do what I can. You know, there's no point sitting here feeling sorry for myself. So started walking when I was 4. I was in a wheelchair from 4 years old up until 16.
Wow.
And then when I was 16, that's when I was like, fuck this, I don't need it anymore. And just was like walking all the time.
So that's very different then. So you were in a wheelchair from 4 to 16. That's pretty much a large majority of life. Even right now at 27, it's a big portion of your life. What was that life? Because your condition is not. We were discussing this off camera. Your condition is not actually formed from dwarfism or anything. It's actually a health. Is it a health or a genetic condition? What sort of condition is it?
So it's a genetic condition. So it's called osteogenesis imperfecta. For those that want to Google it, it's a fucking long name. Just type brittle bones in a Google, it'll come up. A notable person with brittle bones is a guy called, a character called Brick from The Middle. So if you've seen that show, then you'll see kind of what it looks like. But yeah, so there's multiple different types, man. There's like types where they'll be your height and you wouldn't even know they've got the condition. They'll just bruise easy. And then it can be as bad as, the baby doesn't even make it out of the womb. So as far as I remember, I was born with a broken leg and a hernia, of all things.
Wow.
Pretty crazy start, man. Just thrown straight in.
Yeah, and so obviously your height never developed past 1 meter 30, right? What was that like growing up? Because obviously from the outset, a lot of people see that you're very different. You must cop a lot of judgment, and life would be very, very different for you. So what was that kind of experience like growing up?
I got bullied a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a given, right? A lot of people get bullied.
Of course.
I'm probably not the only one for sure. But I had my sister to thank for defending me. She'd always defend me, which was great. But yeah, copped it a lot in primary school. Like I remember when I first started primary school, I'd like other students like circling my wheelchair. I couldn't move, so asking me so many questions and all that kind of shit.
Because you're different, right? Like,
yeah. Copped it a lot in high school. One guy called Jaden, fucking dickhead. I'm gonna just say it. He used to like step on my wheels and all that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Another guy called Anton, he didn't like me as well, but you can't be friends with everyone. I was a loudmouth in high school, so it's probably my fault. But I was a bit of a bully too. I mean, that's a given. You get bullied, you become a bully, right? It is what it is. So I was a bit of a bully in primary school.
And how'd you do the bullying? Were you just running people over in the wheelchair?
Nah, man. Nah. I mean, a lot of people are scared. They look at me and they're scared, and I would just use that.
Because you're different.
Yeah, because I was different. Yeah, if I can't fit in, then fuck them. That's the mindset I had.
Fair enough. And so the height side of things was that. I'm trying to understand how it works, right? Obviously, you have the condition. Does the condition contribute to the height? Because you said people are normal height as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So is it condition based?
Yeah. So there are people with OI or brittle bones that are in a wheelchair and they're tiny, man. Real tiny, can't walk.
Even smaller than you?
Yeah. My mum was shorter than me, man. I don't know exactly how tall she was, but she was way shorter than me.
No way.
There's other people. I know this guy called Riley in the States. He's got a real nice bagged out Subi. He's probably a couple inches taller than me. He's got the same condition.
Wow.
Really, really, really nice guy. All sorts of different heights, man. It's crazy.
Crazy. So are there any other complications for you, obviously, besides the brittle bones side of things? What else happens?
Yeah, so you can have problems with my lungs.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the way that my spine is built, my heart.
So is your spine like bent, shaped? Like
bro, I got it all, man.
Really?
I got scoliosis, that's the S shape.
Yep.
I got lumbar lordosis, which is a forward tilt of the pelvis.
Forward tilt. Okay.
Yeah. So I got that. Problems with the heart, so I get like a regular heartbeat, which is great. Blind as fuck, as you can see. We get a thing with a sclerosis, the white around your eyes can turn blue as well, which is crazy.
Cool.
Brittle teeth, so my teeth are kind of see-through. Hearing problems, just
all sorts.
All sorts, man. It's great fun. Good times.
Right. Sounds very fun.
Yeah. Good times.
And you were mentioning as well, because you drive a Subi as well, right? So
Mitsubishi, man. Mitsubishi.
Oh, it's a Mitsubishi.
This guy.
Sorry. I
Nah.
thought it was a Subi. Sorry, because you were mentioning the other guy as well. So yeah, you drive a Mitsubishi. Obviously with your car, right? And I'm sure a lot of people would be super curious about this sort of stuff. How is it customized for you? Like what? How does it work? Is it not?
Nah,
Wait,
man.
so it's still standard configurations?
Yeah. So you know how when I said I do what I can to make things work? Yeah. So I just put a pillow under me, pillow behind me. Yeah. All good to go. Shout out to Kmart, $12.
Wow. Fuck. No way. I thought you had like custom pedals or something as well.
It's Tiptronic, luckily enough. Yes, there's no clutch, but I can drive it like a manual. But if it was manual, I wish it was, then I'd need like an extension for the clutch. That kind of thing.
Right. And so do you have an extension for the brakes and stuff like that? No?
Nah, man.
Oh, wow. So you can fully reach everything.
I'm like SpongeBob with his toe out the shoe, bro.
Oh, well, there you go. No way.
Yeah.
So that works out well for you. How else has the rest of your life been? Obviously, you know, it's going to be very, very different, right? You'd walk into any place and everyone can tell that you're a different person. What's it been like? You know, do you face a lot of judgment? What has it been like, you know, trying to get jobs and all that sort of stuff?
Oh, man. I don't know about you, but Australia is like a whole different ball game when it comes to judgment. Yeah. You know, like in New Zealand, when I had a girlfriend, as an example, like I'd be like holding hands with her, walking down the road, people would yell out and cheer and whatever, like nicely. Right?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Occasional like fucking midget out the car, but that's a given, right? That's a given from like a beat up 2001 Pulsar. But like in Australia, it's whole different. Like it's whole different. I get scummy looks every day.
Really?
Like every single day. People look at me, laugh. A lot of ishays, man, but ishays.
Yeah, of course.
That's what
Of
they're
course.
like. A lot of kids, but when it comes to kids, like I get it. You know, they don't understand. They're curious.
Yep.
So I'll never get upset about that. But when it's the parent that does it too, then that's where I kind of am a bit funny about it. But yeah, anyone gets judgment, you know, especially on, fuck man, like social media, Instagram. Instagram is a cesspit for it, you know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. So that must be really interesting living life on a different set of lenses, right? And you also do creative work as well. So, you know, you'd understand that from a creative point of view, your life must be very, very different as well in terms of everything that you do. And, you know, you're an artist. And what sort of music do you produce? Would you say?
So I make hip hop. Yeah, hip hop, kind of like bedroom pop mix as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do all your production yourself, filming yourself. Or what's that process like for you?
Nah, so for the filming, I've got a team. Main director is a guy called Chris. Shout out to Chris, and we've got the filmer Andrew and everyone else involved with that. Big team, big team, which are great. They really support me. With music, I got a home studio, so I record, mix, master, engineer. Only thing I don't do is a beats. I'm not wide enough to be able to produce a beat.
Yeah, fair enough.
Real hard shit to do. But yeah, everything else I do myself.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That must be what kind of like drove you down that creative pathway then? Like what made you want to do that?
It's real interesting. So I started doing like graffiti when I was like 13.
Yeah.
Bro, I was like a fucking menace in a wheelchair tagging up in broad daylight, bro.
Oh yeah, because you were 13, you were in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
Wait, so
yeah.
how does that work? How do you
bro.
tag
Seriously.
buildings and stuff? Or tag anything?
So I used to carry like a spray can between my legs. I'd pull up to like a dumpster and I'd be like all city, like on these dumpsters and all that kind of shit. I actually still paint. I still do graffiti today.
Yeah. Well, did the cops ever catch you? So you had
Yeah,
to, like,
yeah.
roll away and
Been
run
caught
away?
once, yeah, in my wheelchair, bro.
Oh my god.
That's a funny story, man. This guy called Kadem, if he watches this, he's going to laugh. But we tagged up the Civic Theatre in my hometown. So it's like the big like theatre from like the 1800s. Yeah. And we done it broad daylight. We're like boosting it home. Yeah. And the security guard pulled up to the car and he's like, you guys are the ones tagging the Civic Theatre. Get your cans out now. We won't call the cops. And we looked at each other like, okay.
Yeah,
Pulled out the cans and he's like, right, call the cops.
Yeah.
So I got busted for that like a fucking idiot. Yeah. I've had to leg it a couple times. Yeah, legged it a few times. This is when I was younger. I'm not like this anymore. Just point that out there. Legal walls only. But yeah. So the whole idea was like, because I do graffiti, I was like, all right, I might start doing music so I can pay for this graffiti habit. Yeah. That was my mindset as like a 13, 14-year-old, yeah.
Wow, so did you start producing music from such a young age?
Yeah,
then,
14, yeah.
From 14, you started making music?
So cheap USB mic from my friend Claude. Yeah. A couple pillows, and we were on, man.
No
way. Seriously, recording like shitty dumb rhymes in my bedroom. That's how I started.
So did you write like all your songs yourself and stuff?
Terribly.
Like
real bad. Fucking horrible shit, bro. Seriously.
Wow. But at least you gave it a stab, you know. A lot of people won't even give it a shot. So going out there and trying and, you know, making an effort to try to build something for yourself, I think that's really, you know, that's really good. Yeah. So really respectable stuff. Actually, going back to that, what was it like? You know, you're obviously getting in trouble with the law and, you know, you're running through and you're being bullied a lot for your height. We talked about this again, same thing off air. And we talked about, like, for example, dwarfism, right? Dwarfism is, I think, another condition, another health condition. I don't think it's just a label, is it?
No, I think it's a bit of both. It's a bit of both, yeah. So it's definitely a health condition where I don't know the technical terms. I don't know much about dwarfism, but there's like different things you see, like smaller proportion arms, legs, that sort of thing. I mean, I've just got a fucking big head, bro. And just a long ass arm.
I mean, you've got normal proportion, just like kind of micronized. Like you're tiny, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's really fascinating because no one would know. I think, and there's obviously not a lot of education in this space, and I think one of the opportunities that's obviously been missed in the recent sort of pop culture news is Snow White, right? And you know, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, but you know, they wanted to be woke about it and no dwarves and CGI the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, so that was a very interesting moment. You could have probably got on a roll there.
100%.
You should have. You should have applied, but then they would have knocked you back being woke.
Yeah, 100%. You know? Yeah, probably.
So that's crazy because no one would realize. And I think a lot of people out there would look at you and go, oh, you know, dwarfism. But because I don't think there's a lot of education. And do you know many other people in the space in Australia, you know, who potentially have certain health problems that might result in, obviously being of a shorter stature?
Not really, man. I personally know 2 other people.
Okay, are they local to us?
So there's a guy called Daniel in Newcastle.
Okay.
He's 4'6", he's 3, I think.
taller than
Sorry, Daniel, if I got this wrong.
Yeah.
He's about 3 inches taller than me. He's a bodybuilder. This guy's fucking.
He's a
stacked.
bodybuilder?
Yeah, he's a fucking unit, bro.
No way.
Benching like 100, something like that. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Real great guy. Yeah. And then there's a woman that I met recently, actually. Her name is Marie, and she comes up to my shoulder. She's a real small lady.
Wow, so she'd be like sub 4 foot.
Yeah, but actually what she does for a living is she goes into schools and educates children about shorter statured people.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
you don't hear it much, which is
100%.
why I'm so curious. And obviously, hopefully, it doesn't offend anyone. But the reality is of it, I don't think people understand. And out of that curiosity, which is what I have, I'm really curious. As in, one, how you live your life, and 2, it's definitely caused by different conditions, and we don't have that amount of education and knowledge to understand it a lot.
Yeah.
For someone like yourself, obviously, you have to live with it your whole life. The other 2 people that you mentioned, are they the same condition as you, or is it a different condition?
They have dwarfism.
So they're dwarfism.
Yeah, actual dwarfism.
Right, okay. So there must be a community though, right? A very supportive community out there. I think I saw you, were you hanging out with like Hezbollah at one stage?
Yeah, I met Hezbollah.
Yeah. So how is that with Hezbollah?
I mean, he's a very quiet guy if you don't know him.
Actually?
Yeah, he was
dead
silent. Oh. Yeah.
So it's not
Probably
as
the
perceived.
language barrier there
Yeah,
too.
possibly.
But it's a mix, man. Like people with dwarfism are very supportive of each other.
Yeah, of course.
People with osteogenesis imperfecta are the complete opposite.
Why is that?
These are very, and I don't want to bag out people with my condition, but they're very poor me. Very, very poor me. Oh, I have this condition. Oh, I feel sorry for myself. So there's a lady that I know in Sydney. She's got it. Her name's Sharina. Really, really nice woman. She's on the same page as me. She doesn't associate with many people with our condition.
Really?
Because they just all feel sorry for themselves, man. It's like, oh, I've got this condition. I can't go out and do this. Oh, I can't date. I can't go grocery shopping. Like little things. And they'll just beat themselves up and get sad and just live their life that way. And it's crazy. But there's people with dwarfism, the complete opposite. These people that are like athletes, man.
Yeah,
like
they fucking live it, bro.
teachers, like just living their life. Actors, like doing what they want to do, man. It's crazy, making the most of their own situation.
Why do you think that's the case? And I think that's a huge topic to talk about, right? Because a lot of people obviously can choose. You can choose to be the victor. You can choose to be the victim in your own story. That's the reality of it. And you definitely have not chosen to be the victim, which is great, and I think that's absolutely respectable. A lot of people have chosen that pathway of being the victim. What do you think separates you with them? Because you haven't been given the best hand of cards.
My mum.
Okay.
My mum, she was a big influence, man.
Yeah.
She was real tough on me as a kid, fucking tough on me as a kid. But it's because I think she was that way because she didn't want me to end up the way that she was.
And your mum had the same condition as you?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she was much worse off than me, though. Unfortunately,
Okay.
she was fully in a wheelchair full time.
Wow.
Yeah, hardly walks. And when she did, she was too afraid to walk. Because you have that fear of breaking your leg. Just minding your business, and then your leg snaps.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah, 100%.
You're literally just standing there and just goes bang.
Yeah.
Holy
I remember one time we had a fish and chip shop up the road from my house, 2 houses down.
Yeah.
I went to grab back in the day. There's a lot of food, like $2 worth of chips, right?
Yeah.
Halfway home, leg cracks,
Your
just
leg-
like that.
just like that,
Leg
just
cracks,
snap.
yeah. So I literally bum shuffled all the way home. All the way home, man.
Does it hurt a lot as well?
It hurts, man.
It does,
100%. Yeah.
Jesus. So brittle bones means, literally at any given moment, you could just snap. Even now as well? Or is it a bit
Oh,
different?
fuck, I hope not, man. But shit, man. What are you trying to do to me?
Yeah, well, touch wood.
Sit
Touch
here,
wood.
my neck
Touch wood.
would snap.
Yeah. Touch wood. Wow, that's fascinating. Honestly, I think a lot of people are obviously, 1, not aware of the condition, but 2, to understand that it could literally just happen like that, like bang.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So your mother is a huge aspect of your life, and I think you mentioned to me earlier you lost your mother in that journey of you going and freeing yourself and becoming a free bird, right? But what was that like for you? Because obviously your mum was a strong pillar. When did it happen?
Yeah. So she passed away in 2019.
Yeah.
And it was actually when I left in January and she died in August.
Oh
So
shit!
I hadn't seen her for quite a while.
Did you make it back for her or
No,
didn't get a chance?
I made it back for the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't get to see her. It's really, really rough. One of our last messages is her asking, so you're not coming back anytime soon then, because she clearly wanted me to come home.
Yeah.
But my mum being
never told
the
you.
tough bitch that she was never going to tell me that she wanted me to come home, you know.
Fuck. So
Yeah.
did she know what did she pass away with?
We think it was like cardiomyopathy. She had like a thyroid problem, but it's like she passed away from like heart issues, and I had those same issues, you know. So I get scared like any day I could just fucking die. You know?
Yeah. So did she kind of like just pass away just randomly without anyone knowing?
Yeah, pretty much, man.
Fuck,
Yeah,
that must
I
have been
woke
hard.
up one morning with like 15 missed calls, and my sister called me up and told me she passed, and I started laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like, why are you
"You're
trolling
fucking
me?"
joking, man? Why are you
Yeah.
calling me? And
yeah.
yeah, she was telling the truth. Yeah,
Jesus. Where were you in the world at this stage?
Brisbane. I was in
You're in
Brisbane. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Jeez, that must have been hard.
It was shit,
Well,
man.
once you found out it wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I
have been
found
rough.
out she wasn't taking the piss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty fucked up thing to joke about, huh?
I know. But it happens. You'd be surprised the amount of people that I met, they joke, oh, my baby's dying or my baby died, and they want to avoid meeting you or something like that, or they want to get out of a meeting. You'd be surprised what excuses I've heard.
Wow. This is in the business space.
This is just in the business space, you know, when people want to get away or get out of a responsibility, you'd be really surprised, man.
Crazy.
People joke about shit like this all the time, and I think it's pretty fucked up. But
Yeah, that's fucked.
you know, such is life, right? Wow, that's crazy. So, what sort of values did your mum teach you growing up? Obviously, she went through it herself, and she had you and your sister as well, which is, you know, crazy. Was she wheelchair bound the whole time, even when giving birth to you guys and having you guys?
What was it? Sorry, what was the question?
Was your mum like always wheelchair bound, even as she was going through giving birth
I
and
mean,
stuff like that?
I think when I was younger, she would walk quite more often, but I mean, you lose confidence over time. Like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the condition, you know.
Yeah, and
Fall over once or twice, and you get scared to keep walking.
was your dad around at the time?
Oh, always.
Yeah.
Always around. Yeah, you never missed a day. Never missed
wow.
a beat. Yeah, really
What a good
lucky.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really lucky for my father.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all back in New Zealand right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So my sister is, but you better fucking do this, by the way. My sister is planning to move to Australia with her boyfriend. Yeah. Planning for a long time. I'm so proud of her. You know, it's good to see her happy. And my dad's in my hometown. Yeah. I'm going to try to get him over eventually. I think he'd love it in Australia. But
Well, it's very similar, right? Is it very similar?
nah, man.
Oh, shit. I thought New Zealand and Australia are quite similar.
Hell no. Nah. Food's better in Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, food's better in New Zealand?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right.
But people are very complacent where they are, whereas Australia is very progressive.
Right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
It's all about mindset, you know.
Yeah. I think mindset is absolutely critical. And like you said, you know, people always either choose to blame the conditions
That's
or,
right.
you know, they can choose to live with it and kind of grow from it. And, what would you say is some of the like hardest things that you've had to overcome in your journey to become who you are today?
It would be more just being different overall. Like I know it's going to be hard to get acting roles and to get jobs and all those sorts of things, but I mean there are good people out there that can look past the physical features, and you just got to find those people that want to give you the chance, you know. And I've found a few of those people within film so far, which is amazing. Within my careers that I've done, you know, working at gyms and where I am now with insurance, like met some great people that have given me the opportunities that I've needed, and they look completely past all this. You know, what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Which is fantastic, and you know, obviously it's very, very difficult for a lot of people to get that through their mind, right? And I don't think a lot of people can empathize with how you feel in a lot of day-to-day situations, and you know, looking at yourself and getting a lot of people, you know, being dickheads to say the very least, right? You know, people call you midget, people might call you dwarf and stuff like that. How do you kind of go about from a psychological point of view in kind of addressing that? Because obviously it would have hurt a lot, especially when you were much younger. Over the years, it probably is a bit different. Like you said, you know, if you hear it from a kid, it doesn't matter. But when you hear it from an adult, it still kind of hurts. How do you kind of deal with these sort of things? Because, you know, it's not easy.
it's a really, really loaded question. And in regards to that, like I have days where I don't give a fuck, man. People can say shit, I really don't care. But there's other days where it can get to me. As an example, I done this interview about my car. I went pretty viral. It's like 1 million views on TikTok. It was like close to 1 million on Instagram before they deleted the video.
Yeah. Why did they delete the video?
I think the organizers of the channel had like a falling out, something. A long story.
Okay. So it wasn't like related to you? Or
No.
Okay. Yeah.
But like essentially, after going viral on Instagram and TikTok, I mean, I know you cop this as a business owner. I know you cop this because you've got a pretty big social profile, so you cop these sorts of comments. But I struggled a lot, man. I ended up really depressive for a very long time. Really reclusive. I wouldn't leave the apartment. There'd be like weeks where I haven't left the apartment just for weeks and weeks because I work from home. It's got everything I need there. But there's like I said, there's other days where you just let it go over your head. I developed this like real nihilistic mindset. You know what nihilism is, right?
No, for those who don't know as well.
Yeah.
Explain.
So nihilism is the thought that nothing matters and we're all gonna die anyway, right? So the mindset I have is like I'm gonna see people on the street, they're gonna make fun of me. They've got shit going on in their lives that's not relevant to me, right? And they're gonna forget who I am within 20 seconds. The people that I know, one day they're gonna die, and the people that remember them are gonna die. So nothing essentially that we do is gonna matter eventually. Like there's been like billions of people that have lived on this earth. How many people that are famous that we know about? Majority of them are like bad people anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like Hitler, fuck that motherfucker. But let's throw that out there.
Yeah.
But like the way I think about it is like people that talk shit or whatever, it's not going to matter, man. Like these people's opinions are irrelevant and we're all going to be dead anyway. So just do what you need to do the shit you want to do and just live your life the way you want to live it. Do you know what I mean? That's the mindset. But then it goes back to also having, self-doubt and those things creep through where you're like, oh, these people's comments are right. What they're saying are right. Maybe I do look funny. Maybe I should never leave the house, that kind of thing. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's the sort of worst stuff that you've ever gotten? What's something that has really kind of like cut you deep or hurt you deep when you face a lot of these sort of adversities?
I think, I mean, there can be nasty comments. There's like real low IQ comments like, oh, a booty uses a booster seat, like shit like that. I didn't know a baby could drive a car. Like, this shit's kind of funny. That is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But there are some like real nasty people. Like there's some people within the stance community in Australia.
The what community?
That like stance. So it's my Kiwi accent.
Stance community. I was like, wait, hold on. What's stance?
Yeah, some of these people are just fuckheads, man. Like I had a couple like grilling me on Instagram, and they'd like comment on every single video, and taking the piss.
This is car people,
community,
right? Car people.
Yeah, and that's only one of many communities of people that give hate. Like.
Yeah. And segueing into the car side of things, you love your car. What sort of car do you have?
So I got a 2003 CE MR Lancer, and I know everyone's going to hate on that, just like the Americans hate on the Civics.
Why would they hate on it?
Because, I mean, it's like Americans don't like Civics, Aussies don't like Lancers. It's the same
Is
thing.
that how it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like CJ Lancer owners. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same, yeah.
Why is that? Is there sort of categorization for the Lancer owners? Or
I don't know. I don't know.
Persona that purchase that sort of car?
It's just a shitbox, you know what I mean? And it's like, people are like, why would you sink money into that? But, I mean... I've been worse. I had a Mazda Demio that I had on chopped springs and had neons when I was in New Zealand,
No way.
Yeah.
So you're always into cars?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
First car was an absolute shitbox. I fucking love that car.
Yeah. And I think that's the case for a lot of things. People don't understand why people love stuff.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so run me through, like, why'd you get your car then? What made you want to get the Lancer?
So when I first moved to Aussie, I was like looking for a car because I was using Ubers when I first moved to Aussie, and the shit just like eating into my savings.
Yeah.
Because I came to Aussie with about $3,000, and that was it.
That was it?
$3,000. Yeah. Wow. Paid like first 2 weeks of rent. Started work at the gym like literally the day after I flew in, and I was like, "Fuck, I need a car." So I found this clapped out CE automatic, and it was like, bro, I think it's beautiful. It was a shitbox, but like matte spray painted hood, the exhaust was sitting in the middle, wasn't even attached properly. Yeah. And the guy was selling it because it wouldn't start. Yeah. And he was like trying to start it. He was like putting the carby cleaner in, wouldn't turn on. And I was like, I have to have this car. So I gave him $1,200 because it wouldn't work. I thought it was beautiful. And it turned out that immobilizer wasn't programmed to the key. Oh. And that was the only issue. So I got someone to come in. We put it in, turn on straight away, wheel alignment. I was good to go.
Oh, wow.
I've loved those cars ever since.
Jeez, you gotta.
So this is the one that I've got now is the second one that I've owned,
It's not the original one.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. That's so interesting. What a story behind it.
Yeah.
I think that's really fascinating. And so you were working in the fitness industry, right? What was that like experience like? Because obviously in the fitness industry, everyone is very, I want to say super superficial, but everyone is kind of like very vanity driven. And you obviously being very different to everyone. How did you go about in the fitness industry and getting involved there? What was that like?
Utilizing a sales mindset.
Okay.
Yeah, being a salesman.
Yeah, right.
So you could be the most qualified personal trainer and the best trainer in the world, but if you can't sell, you're not going to have clients. And you can have the worst qualifications, like standard qualifications in Aussie is Cert 3 and 4. Correct. these guys are not the best PTs. Some of them are. I'll give some of them credit. They know what they're doing, but there's some that have no idea what they're doing. But because they can talk and sell, that's how they get their clients. And I utilize the fact that I'm a little bit more buff than some shorter people. And that's like a thing. Like I say to my clients, like if I can come to the gym with my condition, what the fuck is your excuse?
That's true.
You know, like you're complaining about being overweight. Oh, I can't do this and that. It's like, bro, I couldn't walk at one point.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
here I am, and you're making excuses, and that's always a selling point.
Yeah.
Because people are like, fuck you, you're right. Like, I'm not going to make excuses if you're not, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. So how was your experience as a PT then? Did you get a lot of clients? What was that like?
A lot. Yeah. So I started out training in New Zealand. So I went to SRT, which is kind of like a budget uni there.
Yeah.
Same qualifications that you'd get at a university for like quarter of the price.
Yeah.
Started as a gym instructor, so I'd write plans for clients and stuff. But really kicked off when I moved to Brisbane and was thrown under the bus to have my own business. Own personal training business, yeah. So I think at the peak of things, I had about 16 to 17 clients at one point.
Yeah, nice. And do the sort of accreditations from New Zealand carry over to
Luckily,
Australia?
yeah.
Oh, it does.
Luckily,
So it's all the same.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Because I also have a Cert 3 and 4 as well. So I was in the
I
fitness
wasn't bagging
industry.
you out. So
No.
Sorry,
I knew I was good. I knew
Yeah.
what I was doing. I wrote a lot of programs. I actually specialized a lot more in a lot of group exercise
Oh,
stuff.
fantastic. Nice.
I love that. I just thought it was fun. I was given opportunities to launch new programs for gyms, and I took those opportunities quite well.
Wicked.
But yeah, it's fun. So I completely understand from a fitness side of things. The fitness can be quite rough from time to time. A lot of clients when it comes down to things like non-compliance or a lot of the times when it comes down to even just waking up every morning to go to the gym, it's a huge mental battle for the trainer as much as it is for the clients as well. And yeah, what made you really get into fitness? Because obviously you were in a wheelchair for a while, and then going from a wheelchair into the fitness industry is kind of like opposites.
Yeah. So I dropped out of school at 16.
Yep.
Maybe
Didn't
not
want to go to
16.
uni?
No, 17. No, I didn't want to go to uni because I had like a stupid mindset back then, man. It was like small town, like I just want to make money, that kind of thing. So I was 17, so I correct myself. I dropped out. In Australia, you guys go up to year 12.
Yep.
In New Zealand, we go to year 13. So you'd still be 18 or
13.
19 at high school. Yeah, I was like, I didn't want that. Because every year, my high school was split into two high schools. We had a junior campus and senior campus.
Yep.
And every year would have new juniors come in and they just fucking stare. And I was like, I'm not going to put up with this shit anymore. So I dropped out and I ended up at the YMCA course.
Yeah. And when did you drop out? Is that year 10, year 11?
No, year 12. Year 12.
Oh, you dropped out in year 12. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I ended up at an art course with a graffiti artist called Dio.
Yeah.
And then when his course finished, I moved into a PE course.
Okay.
And I loved it. I hated PE at high school, but I loved it after I left. How funny is that?
Yeah.
And the guy that was coaching me said to the CEO of the YMCA gym, like, you should give this guy a job. And the CEO's like, if you get into uni, I'll give you a job. And I did that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I excelled. I got a diploma in sport and exercise science. So I took it up a whole step,
Wow, took it up a whole step for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been cool. It's really cool having someone believe in you. I think that's such a big differentiator from those who kind of just dawdle in something and those who kind of like go out and they excel.
Yeah.
And having that sort of support is really great. And who would you say would be some of your biggest supporters growing up? Because, it must be rough, right? Being young, going through all of this. Psychologically, it's super challenging, especially when you're different. And more so than just different, it's physically different. I'm sure girls out there would feel it, if they're not the prettiest of the group, and guys out there would feel it if they're the scrawny ones in the group or like the nerdy ones. So we all have like these physical components that, kind of shape us from the beginning of our lives. And we as human beings kind of start to develop psychological traits to kind of overcome these.
Yeah.
So for you, who was your big support network?
Be my parents, my sister. I've cycled through a lot of friends over my life, so there'll be a lot of friends I can't even remember to name now. The group that I have now, I've got a lot of like friends individually that have massive supports. But yeah, just finding those supports and holding on to them is like really important. But mainly family and the odd friend would be the biggest support. Yeah,
I think you're very lucky in that, because a lot of people obviously, even if they had family, like, they're not always super supportive, right? So to have super supportive family, even after losing your mother, is quite difficult to have. And, you're very lucky, very, very lucky. That's awesome, bro. So run me through now. Like, we're coming back to the present and where you are now. You're going through, you're trying to act, you're creating music and stuff like that. Have you released any sort of music recently?
I released a self-filmed music video recently. Okay. So we filmed the whole thing on mobile phones. whole thing, yeah.
Really?
And then I edited it all in Final Cut. Don't roast me if you're using Final Cut. I know a lot of people prefer DaVinci or Sony. But yeah, so edited that, released that. That was just a kind of thing to show myself, like, you know, if I have to do this on my own, then I can do it. And you can do it with the little that you have. Do you know what I mean? You don't need a big budget, big production. So release that. Got another music video that's going to release at the start of next month, directed by Chris and filmed by Andrew. It's going to be a real great video to release. Premise of that is I'm sitting on like a couch with a psychologist. I'm just like rapping to her, and but that's pretty much it for now. I let self-doubt and procrastination creep in too much.
Interesting. All right, let's talk about that. So when did that happen? What happened? What was the process of that?
So I released a song a week, every week in 2018.
A song a week?
A song a week, yeah. I was copying Russ's formulas. There's an artist called Russ, and that's how he blew up. So it's like, fuck, if it works for him, it's going to work for me. It didn't, but it's just because I didn't have that quality there. But after I left for South America, I hit like this big wall with self-confidence because I'm real cocky with women in my hometown, right? Real cocky. But when I got into a different country, I couldn't be like that because women weren't receptive like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that took like a big hit to my confidence, and then I let it creep in other areas. So self-doubt was like a big thing that I battle with, and procrastination. Because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but procrastination is a coping mechanism for things that may have happened in your life. You know.
Well, interesting. What do you think that is? What for you? What was procrastination coping for?
Delaying change.
Oh.
Delaying change. Yeah, because if you don't procrastinate and do things, and things are going to change, and a lot of people don't like change.
That's true.
Sometimes I love change, and other times I fear it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I try not to let self-doubt creep in too much. But I mean, everyone deals with that shit. I mean, even you would with business every now and then. And
all the time.
Yeah, I know there's people out there that definitely deal with it, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. That's interesting. Well, you mentioned a point there which I wanted to kind of dive into, which is I found quite fascinating. So you're very cocky with the girls back in your hometown, right? So how does that work? Have you noticed that girls are different in New Zealand versus South America versus Australia? What made you cocky in the sense that you're cocky in New Zealand but not in South America?
I think it was like I got to a point where I'm like, oh, this is easy. You know, like I was able to get a lot of women in my hometown. Yeah. And then going to South America, like it just wasn't the case. I think the language barrier kind of hit me there. Yeah. But when you get rejected, or like if it doesn't work in your head the way that you planned it to, that's when you're like, oh, it's not going to work this time. And then you get scared. Like one thing I've tried to start doing is like just like if I see someone that looks cool on the street, got a good fit, nice tattoos, like complimenting them. Yeah. Even that can be fucking hard because you're trying to talk to a stranger. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, so like I had like a lot of hits where, you know, rejections played part, or I was like too scared to make a move, and then that's when you end up with like the what if, or like I should have done this, like I should have said this, and then you live with that, and it's like, well, you know, I'm not going to be able to do that. And I don't know, man, it's like a whole fucking tangent that I'm going to end up going off on. Yeah.
So what sort of like, run me through that, right? Like what sort of tactics would you have, for example? And I think this really plays into confidence a lot, because a lot of guys, obviously, you know, when they're going out there, they're trying to find a girlfriend, or they're trying to date, or they're trying to pick up girls or whatever. Confidence is very, very key. You know, to everyone on the outside's perspective, you might seem like the last person to have the confidence to do that, right? Because obviously your whole life you're being judged for who you are, your differences in personal appearances, etc. How did you just go about like coming up with that sort of confidence to be able to do what you do?
That's a really great question. Just doing it, like Shia LaBeouf said, you know, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Because like if a woman sees a guy my height that's confident, they're gonna be like, you know, that's crazy. He's so confident. Yeah. But you know, you could be like 5'6", muscly as hell, and you're not confident. She might not want to go for you. She'll go for the more confident guy.
You're the king of all short kings.
Yeah. King of kings. Yeah.
King of kings. But yeah, because that's so fascinating to me, right? Because obviously, majority of your life you're wheelchair bound. You know, I would assume that, and assumption is not always the best, but, you know, being logical with this, being in a wheelchair may not be the biggest boost of confidence. So to be able to break out of that sort of mindset, and to break out of, you know, the sort of conditions your life has given you, and then to go out and tell me, hey, you know what, it was actually just a game for me where I can go out and, you know, pick up girls, or, you know, I'm confident enough to do it and do it well. That's very, very fascinating. I think a lot of people, and even just normal guys, you know, even good-looking guys. I know guys that are jacked, buff, square jaws, Giga Chad style, and like they still cannot pick up girls, or they cannot go out there and have the confidence to talk to someone that they find attractive, or they like, and that's never been a problem for you, or has that been a problem and you kind of like overcome that?
It become a problem from, I would say, basically after being in South America up until a couple of years ago, or more even up until now. The one piece of advice that I would give to people is to not live a life where in 6 months' time you're thinking, what if? Like I kind of said that before. So like as an example, I've had plenty of opportunities with certain women and it's just gone right over my head. And then 6 months later, I had the green light and I'm like, holy fuck, she was trying to make a move on me and I was so stupid. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to live a life where I'm like thinking, oh man, like I should have said this. Why didn't I say this? Oh, maybe I should have said this. Maybe I should have done that. You just say what you want to say now and do what you want to do now, so that way you're not looking back thinking, what if? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to live like that anymore. That's how I'm more confident with acting. Like I'm more confident with my music because like it all ultimately doesn't matter. I don't want to be thinking, oh, I should have released a song, but I didn't. I should have done this acting role that they gave me the opportunity to do, but I was too scared to. You don't want to be living in what if. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably yapping. People are like, what is this guy yapping about right now? But yeah, that's the mindset I have.
No, I think that's great. And whether you're yapping or not doesn't matter, right? Like ultimately it's what you want to say and how you want to say it, and it's your life. They can judge you however they want, and if so be it. I think that's really fascinating. And like running back to kind of your acting career and starting to do all the acting side of things, do you find it offensive if people want to cast you for like small people roles, or were you more like, what, fuck it, those roles are made for me, I'm going to take those? What's your sort of psychology like there?
That's a great question. I was asked this recently by Marie, the little lady I told you about. She asked me with my role, she's like, have you been casted for comedic roles because of your height? And I said, yes, but I don't mind that because it works, Yeah. It's not, I'm not going to take that. They're just making fun of me because I'm short. Like, I'm going to be short and fucking funny at the same time. And if it makes people laugh, that's all that matters, It's not going to offend me. I don't care about it, So, I've had a couple serious roles, which is great. Love to do that kind of stuff. But any comedic roles, 100% I'll take that, You take what you can.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I would assume, like, there's obviously a lot of people out there, and people have different sort of psychology when it comes to it. Some people hate it, right? When you point out the obvious, people hate it. But there are a lot of people who have turned that into their careers by really doubling down and diving into who they are. For example, what's his name? Peter Dinklage.
He's
for example,
incredible.
he's incredible, right? And he's probably one of the most famous people, and he's got proper dwarfism, I think, right? And so, with that, he's gone straight down that rabbit hole, and he now just represents that whole entire, sect of people per se. And so, for example, with yourself being, well, what's the actual accurate or politically correct term to describe yourself? What is it?
Just short person, man.
It's literally just short person.
Short person. I'm just a short person.
That's how
I'm not like a fucking midget or like a dwarf or anything. I'm just a short person. I think that's how a lot of us like to be represented, like short person.
Yeah.
There are some shorter people that embrace the midget name or embrace like dwarf, which is fine. That's cool for me.
Yeah.
Just short person, man.
Yeah, cool.
That's all. I'm just a guy that can't reach the top shelf. That's all it is.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's one way to see it, and 100%. I think that's a great way to see it. Yeah. Because a lot of people obviously look at that and go, oh, you're a midget or you're a dwarf or whatever it is, and people obviously take offense to it as well. So I'm very curious because everyone's to each their own, right? Some people would just be like, well, you know what, fuck it. My life is pretty fucked and I'm going to be depressed over it. Whereas some people be like, fuck it. If they want to call me a midget, they want to call me a dwarf, it is what it is. I'm just a small person.
Exactly.
If I'm a small person and I dive into it and I just accept that this is what it is, then they'll live a better life. And I think that's the psychology component of it, which is really interesting. What else are you working on at the moment?
What was that, sorry?
What else are you working on at the moment?
So we just finished filming a scene for a short horror film. This director called Mike.
Yeah.
If anyone's ever seen the film Outback, about a couple that gets American couple that gets stranded in the outback of Australia, he directed that. Really, really nice guy. Yeah. I just recently had a audition for a TV commercial. Yeah. Fingers crossed I get it.
Okay.
And I'm working on a pilot comedy series with this director called Sasha. Real nice guy. Fingers crossed we end up filming. But apart from that, man, nothing else lined up.
Yeah, wow.
For now.
Yeah,
for now.
What's the sort of big goals and dreams and ambitions for you over the next 1 to 2 years?
Biggest goal would be to get on Netflix. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a documentary. like a comedy show, film, like Netflix is a big goal for me, man. 100%.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know how that process works? Like, how do you get on Netflix?
I mean, it really depends on who you know and who the director knows. Like, as an example, the horror film I was talking about before, Mike, who directed Outback is on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all down to pitching it. That's what we're aiming for this comedy series we're going to film, to pitch it to like Amazon, Netflix, Tubi, those kinds of things, and see if they pick it up.
All right.
Yeah, and go from there.
Yeah, because the film industry is very, very interesting, right? I'm not fully aware of it, and I don't pretend that I'm an expert in any of these sort of things. So, you know, how does it work in the film industry? Obviously, when you're a producer or you're a filmmaker, you're a director, whatever it is, you have to produce some sort of content. And that sort of content, what do you do? Do you take that into production first and produce like videos and episodes first before you go to see these sort of studios, or do you kind of pitch the ideas to studios, they fund you? How does that work? Do you know?
Yeah, there's multiple ways you can do it. Like, I know writers that will just simply pitch a script. In this case with Sasha, he wants to film the first episode. So you call it a pilot, right? So you film your pilot for the first episode. As an example, Malcolm in the Middle, their first season was just a pilot to see if the show would be receptive. And it worked, and then they get more seasons from there. But you can just pitch the first episode, film one episode only. If the producers like it, they're like, yeah, fuck, we'll take this, we'll fund it. And then they run it from there. You get a lot of people independently releasing. As an example, Maria, the director I talked about before, one of her films, the original Echo 8, they self-release that whole thing all by themselves.
Wow.
They're in that mindset. It's like, fuck, if no one else is going to help us, we're just going to do it ourselves.
So they would fund it themselves as well?
Yep, they funded it
Holy
themselves.
shit.
Yep. It's all self-funded. They got it on Amazon, which is incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, doing amazing work, you know. It's that mindset, like, if no one else is going to help me, I'm just going to fucking do it myself, and that's what they're doing, which is great.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I think the film industry is something that a lot of people are obviously fascinated about. Everyone wants to make it as an actor, or they want to be famous, or whatever it is. So going behind the scenes and really understanding how it works, you know, is pretty intense. Have you ever considered like pursuing your acting, you know, overseas in like America? Have you considered any of that sort of stuff?
It's a classic thing, going to Hollywood and trying to make it as an
That's
actor.
a classic, and then you become the broke artist. And you live there for a bit, doing like 15 jobs.
100%, yeah. No, I want to try within Australia and New Zealand first and see where that takes me. It is on the cards to find an agent within the States, 100%. But it's finding the right agent who knows the right people and knows where to place me correctly. Do you know what I mean? Because there are agents that you can get and you never hear from them. I've had that issue before. And then there's agents that will send you multiple auditions and they'll do everything they can to get you work. So it's like, remember how we talked about earlier, finding the right people who look past all this and that they know what to do?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what to look for.
And that's the agent you have now?
One of two, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice. And have you done any work back in New Zealand as well for any acting?
No.
Not yet.
None.
Are you ever planning to? Does New Zealand even have a film industry?
Yeah, they've got a great film industry.
Really?
Yeah, fantastic film industry. Really great shows, really great movies coming out of there. All I was going to say independently funded, but they've got a funding agency called New Zealand On Air that fund a lot of the big projects over there. But yeah, no, real great work coming from New Zealand, man.
Yeah,
100%.
wow. Yeah, well, I'm assuming because New Zealand's got great sort of cinematography, backdrops and environments.
Have you never seen Once Were Warriors before?
Once what?
Once Were Warriors? This guy, he's never seen Once Were Warriors? It's a fantastic movie.
No, I have not.
Came out in the 90s about...
all I know is The Hobbit, bro.
What are you talking about me for? No. So that's a great film, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So Once a Warriors is like a film from the 90s about this like multi-family showing like what New Zealand is truly like.
Oh, really?
You know, like advertising companies for tourism, they always show the beautiful parts of the country.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like as an example, Queensland, they'll always show like the beautiful parts of Queensland, like the Goldie, the theme parks, but they'll never show like Logan Central as an example, or Sydney, they'll never show Blacktown and, you know, where all the shootouts and all that happen, you know. So they were showing the true side of what New Zealand really looks like. It's a great film. You got to watch it.
Okay.
You got to watch it,
Yeah, I'll
honestly.
get you to link it to me.
In the comment section, tell them to fucking watch it, honestly.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be really interesting because, you know, as we all see, New Zealand is like a beautiful country. It's full of greenery, full of nature, full of this and that. Great big kingfish that, you know, we want to go fishing for. But all sorts of things. Everyone loves that. But we all know behind every country there is always a deep, dark side, right? Yeah. And unless you're a local, you probably won't be really aware of it.
That's right.
So I find that really fascinating. And what was your township like when you were growing up? You know, 50,000 people is not a lot of people. And again, that number could be wrong, right? So What was that kind of like growing up in a quote unquote small town before moving to Sydney, which is still large, but not one of the most massive cities, but Sydney's still quite large.
Oh, everyone knows everyone, man. Literally, like everyone knows someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
And as you get older, everyone has slept with everyone that slept with everyone.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, man, it's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about New Zealand. I didn't know that people were more promiscuous down there.
They call Invercargill the dirty south.
Oh, is that
Yeah. There are amazing parts of New Zealand where the people are amazing. Like there are some amazing people in my hometown too, but I mean, don't get it twisted. There's some crazy people as well.
Yeah, of course. And how south is it? It's like at the very bottom?
Very bottom.
Of South
Pretty
Island.
much very
just
bottom, yeah.
Literally the tip. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it cold there?
Oh, freezing, man.
Really?
Yeah, freezing my ass off all
Snowing?
the time. I mean,
No.
yeah, it snows occasionally, but it's like once every couple of years. Like, so I was that kid that grew up like in like shorts and a singlet, man. But I went back recently and I was freezing. I was wearing a puffer and like baggy track pants. It was cold, man. Yeah.
Wow. So New Zealand's quite different to here then. Yeah, even the people.
Yeah, even the people. There's amazing people there, though, honestly. I don't want it to sound like I'm bagging out everyone in New Zealand, like, oh, you're all low IQ and you're not doing anything with your life. I don't want to make it sound like that. There are some amazing people there, for sure.
Because I've only ever been to Queenstown. Loved it.
Nice,
Great, beautiful place. Very slow pace, though, compared to definitely over here. It's
It's a
definitely more
tourist
touristy.
town.
Yeah, it's a tourist town. Ferg Burger, great burgers, and, you know.
Shout out Froburger.
I know they've got to sponsor us now after that.
They came in clutch once at 12 p.m. when I was drunk as fuck.
Oh, really?
Best burger I'd ever had.
So
man.
is Ferg Burger actually like a big franchise, or is it like kind of just
I think
South Island or something?
Yeah, I think they've only got like one in Queenstown. Probably don't quote me on this. They got one in Queenstown, and then they've got a bakery, and then like a gelato place as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think they're side by side or something like that. It was great.
But they're world famous. How great is that?
World famous.
Yeah.
Kiwi exports.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So growing up, obviously in New Zealand, what's your background? Like, are you like just full Kiwi? Like,
I don't know, man. I think
how does that work?
I think my dad was saying that we're part German, part Scottish, but I've got no idea. I'm just white, bro.
you just want
I'm just a white guy.
white with a Kiwi
I'm just
accent.
pasty, bro. That's
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting, bro. And so because I'm sure a lot of people won't understand where it comes from, like all the whole Maori traditions and stuff like that. Did you ever have that sort of stuff growing up and that sort of philosophy mindset? How was that like?
So my uncle on my mum's side, he used to around Christmas time do a hangi. So a hangi is basically where you dig a pit in the ground with some hot stones, and you put the food in and cover it up, and you let it cook underground. There's
Classic Islander
yeah,
style.
many cultures around the world do it. They even do it in South America. But yeah, that's what I got to experience, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, real good food, man. Real good food. Yeah. My ex, her dad was Māori and her mum was Samoan. So a lot
so
of
she's proper Islander?
Yeah. So when I was with her, a lot of island food as well. Really good food, man. And I've got some cousins that aren't blood related as well. They're Samoan, and a lot of good island food again. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, very different, because I'm always very curious, right? Because obviously New Zealand is, a lot of people think it's very similar to Australia. But one thing about New Zealand that is awesome and fascinating to me is, they have a very strong Maori culture. And that sort of Islander culture, whether you're Samoan or, whether you're from New Zealand or whatever, they have a very strong culture of being together, very tight community. I don't think we see many of that over here. What was that kind of like when you went overseas to South America? Was that a big culture shock for you? What was that like?
Oh yeah, man. First day in Peru, I was in Lima. I was just walking down the street, so I wanted to look around, and there was this guy blasting music from his car with a gun in his hand, just waving it around. I don't know what the fuck he was listening to some good shit. And then I went to a market, and there was a stall that said pollo fresca, which means fresh chicken.
Yeah.
And bro, like in cartoons where there's a chicken hanging with the cross on the eye, and yeah, bro, these chickens weren't fresh. That's what they look like, covered in flies and shit.
Oh my
It was a big
God.
culture shock, man. But it's crazy. One thing I always talk about to people when they ask me about South America is you go to these places and these people have like nothing, man. Like I went to these islands in Peru where these like people were living on an island. All they had was power, no running water, no gas, no internet, and they're probably some of the happiest people you ever meet. But you come to Sydney, I've met literal millionaires, not talking about you, but little millionaires that are so unhappy and so sad within themselves. And it just doesn't make sense to me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. The different cultures and the different mindsets, Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also very fascinated by that. I think it's very interesting how people live their lives, and
I know for us here in Sydney as a big city, right, or big compared to a lot of places, people kind of keep yearning for more. And I think that desire and hunger to yearn more in a fast-paced city where everyone's trying to keep up stops us from really stopping and appreciating. And that's probably what allows people to be super happy, is being, grateful for the life they have now and stopping and slowing down and being able to appreciate what's around them. How long were you in South America for?
From January through till June. How many months? 6 months.
6 months, yeah. 6 months in South America.
Yeah, so live for 3 months in Mexico and then 3 months just traveling around.
Were you working there as well?
I worked for a day at a call center calling Americans, and it was fucking horrible, man.
Yeah.
It was terrible, bro. Americans can be nasty on the phone.
Really?
The moment I had one call, so my job was to appointment set after like storms, right? Because Americans, they unfortunately get a lot of tornadoes, real bad weather events. I called this one person, and the moment I spoke, they just started laughing, bro. Started laughing. I was supposed to get paid. I didn't even get paid. I didn't even come in to collect the check because I was like, I'm not fucking doing this again.
Yeah.
So I worked for a day. I don't even know if you can count that as working.
Yeah. Wow. So you just traveled for 6 months straight.
Pretty
That's
much,
crazy.
man. Yeah, lived off. I stretched 13,100 over the span of 6 months.
That's pretty crazy.
Through multiple countries.
About
and
$2,000.
That includes buying a car when I moved to Brisbane as well.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I don't know how I did it, but I did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What sort of experiences do you remember from your South America trip? Like, what was really impactful for you?
I got chased in Santiago doing graffiti in broad daylight.
So
I learn, hey, I don't fucking learn. I'm a fucking
learn,
idiot.
Yeah.
No, really amazing people. I had 2 women fight over me in Puerto Vallarta.
Oh.
Beautiful woman named Blanca. She had an argument with another woman over me
Yeah.
and didn't even come home with me anyway. So she cock blocked me for no reason.
Yeah.
I made a really good friend in Puerto Vallarta, a guy called Carlos. Taught me a lot. He's only a couple of years older than me, but mentally, he's very mentally developed.
What do you reckon he's taught you?
He's definitely taught me that I don't know everything. Yeah. We had an argument a lot about how I thought I knew everything. He's like, trust me, you don't know everything. He taught me how to manage procrastination. He taught me how to manage like ADHD symptoms because like I don't know if I have ADHD, but I'll be doing one thing and then suddenly I'm doing another. Yeah. As an example, I've got over 120 unfinished songs on my hard drive, so that tells you what you need to know, right?
Fair enough.
So he taught me how to budget my time. Time budgeting is really important, especially for people that struggle to focus.
That's cool.
Yeah, really great guy.
Well, what does Carlos do?
So he was in property management. He was in film directing as well, but he's decided he's going to be an artist. He's doing some really great work, doing a lot of painting and all that kind of stuff. He's kind of going through life trying to figure out what he's wanting to do now he's older.
Wow, but he's taught you a lot, which is great.
Yeah, really great guy, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's so fascinating because everyone travels, and if you haven't traveled, you probably won't understand, how the world works to some extent, right? Which is why, like we see when people comment nasty comments on social media, I would be willing to bet 99% of those people have never gone out of their own home or own local area to explore the world. Because once you have an understanding of the world, you can truly understand and perceive, the different perspectives that are out there, right? And you won't be as judgmental. And so I think a lot of people don't get to experience that in their life, and they become very cynical, very skeptical, because they don't really comprehend and understand how big this world is. There's so much you can learn out there. Yeah. What was it like in terms of South America, in terms of like safety and stuff like that? Because I've seen and I've heard it's extremely dangerous, especially for tourists. What was that kind of like for you?
I mean, I was probably close to getting trafficked and didn't even realize multiple times, man. Yeah. Honestly, Brazil was fucking crazy. Like I was there during Carnival. Carnival can be very, very dangerous. Yeah. I met this one really tall guy, who'd probably be about 7 foot maybe.
So he would have been like 7 foot, double your height, more than double your height.
I came up to his waist. Yeah, really nice guy. His name's Kingsley. He's from the UK.
Yeah.
He got robbed at gunpoint in Brazil.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
were you there with him?
No. This is another time. So he lived there for a while.
Yeah.
But now, like Mexico was a bit shifty. Like a lot of people that you can tell are cartel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Obviously, they're not going to come and say I'm part of the cartel, but you can tell just by looking at them.
Yeah.
You trust them more than the police at times. Even police are real corrupt, man. Santiago was fine. Chile was fine. Bolivia was fine. Peru was rough. I ended up ditching the group that I was with to walk home. My fucking dumbass got lost. I got lost for 2 hours in Cusco.
Yeah.
I followed a dog to the town centre because I was like, fuck, I'm going to end up getting raped or something, bro. I'm the size of a child. So I I was like, right, this dog is
Jesus.
this dog would run up and look at me
Yeah.
and then keep running. So I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking follow this dog.
Really?
I had a pack of dogs behind me growling. I couldn't turn around, so I
Yeah.
followed this dog all the way to the town centre.
Oh, I can't believe it. The dog like sensed your spirit or something. Like came to talk to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. People don't believe that story. If I find my Snapchat memories, I can probably find the videos of me following this dog. That was crazy. I remember trying to ask people if they spoke English because I needed help, and they started laughing at me.
Oh,
Yeah. It's pretty wild, like being my height and going out into places like that where grown ass men that are muscly as hell wouldn't even do it. But I think I was just fucking dumb.
yeah. And people probably wouldn't have seen many people like yourself.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
the local area as well, so they probably were tripping out as well.
Oh, I copped it a lot in Peru, man,
did ya?
in Cusco. When I was with Kingsley, the tour guy I told you about, they'd film us, but they'd be funny
Oh my
about it and
God.
have the flash on.
Yeah.
Thinking that they don't realize they have the flash on, they'd be
Yeah.
filming us. Yeah.
That would have been a very interesting sight.
Yeah, they get
Very
shocked,
interesting.
man.
Do you have a photo of that? Like you and Kingsley together?
I'll probably do somewhere in my
That'd be
memories. I have to
crazy.
send
The
it
height
to you.
difference, yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
send it to me. That height difference would be crazy, bro.
Yeah.
How was it actually? What is that like? Because obviously speaking to someone at that height, even for anyone else, everyone else is already looking up at him. What was that like for you?
I was all right, man. Like I felt all right around him, to be honest. You know how like people they would get worried about saying something to a short guy about being short.
Yeah.
I get like that with really tall people, being like, "Oh man, you're tall." Like I don't want to be rude. Do you know what I mean? Because like if he said, "Oh fuck, you're short," then I'd feel like shit. You know. So you got to be careful about it. But no, it was fine, man. A lot of my friends are tall as. I don't know why. I mean, short people are closer to hell, bro. So like they're just like real feisty and have attitudes. I don't have many short friends.
Yeah.
We'll put it at that.
You got to be the king of the pack with that attitude,
yeah.
right?
I'm the token short guy.
Yeah, the token short guy, the token short
that's
guy.
right.
That's so fascinating, bro. Because I think a lot of people they can't come to grips with themselves, right? And from the sounds of it, it looks like you've truly accepted who you are as a person. Was there ever a time where you kind of were trying to deny that you were this short person, or when people were looking like even literally looking down on you? Did you ever have a time where you just like you just bought into it and you're just like fuck like I'm this short guy, like people hate me, life's shit? Like, did you ever have that moment?
I think everyone has those moments, man. Like I probably definitely have. None that I can specifically think of.
Yeah.
But I think my mum always taught me just to, live life the way you want to live it and just not let that thing get in your way. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think I've ever really let it get to me. Like, as an example, like my Tinder bio was looking for a girl who can reach a top shelf, like you just got to embrace it, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Did you ever have any girl want to kind of be with you because you were short?
one.
Really? Was it like one of like her bucket list items or something?
She was only a couple. She's probably like a head taller than me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She, full tattoos as well, just like me. She was crazy. Real good woman though.
Yeah. I was surprised that someone's like, messaging you on Tinder or something going, yeah, it's part of my bucket list to be with a short guy.
Yeah. There's probably women out there like that.
100%. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's definitely guys like that on the other end. So,
Oh, yeah.
that's really interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's been a fascinating story for you so far. Your journey has been, coming around, around for a very, very long time for you as well. Getting to where you are today, quite interesting, and going through a lot of adversity is very, very difficult. It's extremely hard to live in this world as a quote unquote normal person, let alone in your condition as well. Have you ever thought about what's going to be on the horizon for you for the future, in terms of are you going to be a representative of people like yourself, or are you going to kind of explore different opportunities in the acting space where you can represent? What's it been like in that sort of mindset and philosophy?
I don't think I'd want to be a representative for people my height, because we all individually have our own issues and our own story. We're not all collectively in the same bucket. Do you know what I mean? I thought about motivational speaking, but I have a habit of just yapping, and then people are like, what the fuck are you fucking talking about? So I don't know if that's for me. Maybe I could do that in the future. But it's not something I've ever really put much thought into, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I more try and motivate the regular person.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Yeah.
I think that's cool. I
Yeah.
think that's really honourable stuff to do, man. That's really fascinating. So before we kind of wrap up for today and dive into what our finishing messages, what sort of stuff are you kind of working on at the moment? So people, if they want to kind of follow along on your journey, they can find out what to follow you for.
So if you want to keep up My Instagram is _Robert Brodie, or you could go Robert Brodie _. I've got both of those. One's for my car, one's for my personal.
Yes.
So you can follow what I'm doing on there and get in touch. Flick a message if you want to say, hey, have a chat. I get it a lot on Reddit. If I post on Reddit, people message me quite a lot, asking me a lot of questions. Yeah. Which is fine. I'm always happy to answer questions, just as long as you're not a fucking dickhead about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's it like? Well, actually, running it back to that. What's it like on Reddit? Reddit's a pretty savage place sometimes.
It can be.
Yeah. What sort of stuff do you get there?
I get questions of curiosity.
Okay.
I never get people talking shit or roasting
Really?
me. Never.
Well, that's so
The
good.
only place I cop that is Instagram, because Instagram is fucking toxic. You can smell the comments a mile away on Instagram.
Yeah, 100%.
It's real funny, like the social media platforms, like you look at the comment sections on Instagram as opposed to TikTok, completely different, man.
Yeah.
People are real nice on TikTok. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Sometimes I cop it on TikTok.
Really?
I feel like
That's
TikTok's
interesting, man.
You should get on Chinese TikTok. That's when you want to get roasted until you go straight into
yeah.
depression.
Yeah,
But
100%.
Chinese social media is savage. Yeah.
Do you cop it a lot, or?
I'm not really strong on Chinese social media, but when my friends are on Chinese social media, they cop it, bro. Chinese people are just savage, man.
Oh, okay.
Absolute savages. But yeah, Instagram and TikTok definitely very interesting platforms. I think it just depends on your demographic that you hit. Sometimes you hit the kids, and then the absolute delinquents. So
Nah, it's the adults, man. I reckon it's the adults.
you're against adults.
Yeah, if you get on the explore feed, you'll see like people, like real interesting people physically on Instagram.
Of course.
And you just know the moment that you open the comments, it's just some out of pocket shit, bro.
Oh yeah.
And people just don't give a fuck, man.
Yep.
Yeah, they just don't care. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. Sometimes the Instagram comments, absolutely, I reckon it'll fucking just wreck a ton of people. It is insane. So let's dive into the last thing that we usually ask on the show. What is the one cheat code that you reckon you've unlocked, right, in your life now, living up to where you are today, that you could kind of go back and tell your 18-year-old self to help you really double your results in half the time, so that you can go on and create a better life and a beautiful life for yourself?
Say what you want to say and do what you want to do, because one day you're going to be dead. And it's all going to not matter anyway.
And that's the nihilism philosophy,
100%.
isn't it? Wow.
100%, yeah.
Powerful stuff.
Live life the way you want to live it. If you're stuck at your job and you want to quit and travel, just do that. If there's a girl that you want to ask to marry you and you're too scared, just do that. You don't want to live life full of regrets, asking what if, or I should have done this, or I should have said that.
It's powerful shit.
Yeah.
I love it. No regrets, right? Just live life how you want it.
No regrets. Get that tattooed up there.
Yeah, we'll get that tattoo. You should tattoo on you.
100%.
Wait, how many tattoos do you have? You have a ton of tattoos.
I got a lot. Yeah, so I got a whole leg, sleeve, my neck. My neck was my
Nothing
first
on your
one.
arms?
Nah, not the arms. No.
Just neck and legs.
Yeah, neck and legs.
Interesting. No arms.
Crazy, right?
Should've
Not
finished
even
it
any chest. It looked like a fucking clown, with just the neck done, but that's right.
It's a story for another day. So thank you so much, Brodie. Thank you for being on the show. Appreciate you and coming to spend time with us here today as well. So for those of you guys who want to follow us as well, make sure you follow the 0.01 podcast. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed that episode of 0.01. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along on all our socials at 0.01 podcast to watch all of the shorts again. We release an episode every single week, and we hope you will join us as we continue to explore the minds of those who make up the 0.01%. Until next time, keep hustling. I'm your host, Alan Fu. I'll see you on the next episode.